Welcome to the Kinjaz Podcast. Here we will discuss dance, life, and whatever the we want.
Folks, welcome back to the Kinjaz Podcast, Movement in the Shadows, Season 2. We are back. Before we get into it, I just wanted to express my gratitude to all of our fans, all of our listeners who have been following the pod for 2+ years. We had a very long season 1. We had 120 episodes. And I still get DMs. I still get messages for people who find the podcast. They find it as a new podcast. So that's the great thing about podcasts. Once it's out there, it's out there. So thank you guys so much for following and listening, for all the DMs, all the reviews, all the ratings, all that stuff has kept us alive. And I'm excited to be back. It's been a year since we recorded our last episode. And we're back. Fresh new season. And we have a fresh new co-host. We have a veteran to the pod. My new co-host, we have Anthony Lee. What's up, Ant?
Bam, 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 bam.
Anthony Lee.
Self-applause, self-intro right there.
There it is. He's in here.
That was a long-ass intro. I was sitting here silent trying to wait for you to finish.
Sorry. I'm just excited, and I just wanted to express my gratitude before we got into anything.
Thank you so much to the fans, to everybody who supported in season 1. And yeah, man, you 120 episodes.
Yeah. Shout out the tripod. Charlie and Mike Fowl. You guys were there from season 1.
Super shout
out, man. Miss you guys.
Really glad that, as Kinjaz as an organization, we were able to create even like that podcast extension, just being able to bring even like words to some of the movement that we've been doing, some of the stories of some of the people that have inspired and impacted us. But big also props, Ben Chung, you were the main host, the main dude that carried everything, for season 1 of the podcast that, gave people insight, gave people depth, brought in new listeners, and gave people a space to understand a little bit more about what the Kinjaz story is and stuff like that. So, big props to you, big love to you on that one. Glad to be here as we continue that journey and continue to find ourselves through life and share that with people. And I'm just happy to be here because, one, we're in my house. We're in my apartment right here. I don't know if you could tell.
We got a new room, guys.
We're in a new room, long story short, we didn't have another spot. We'll get into that later. But now we're here and we got a spot. As long as you got a spot, Kinjaz is still strong.
We got a spot.
I really want to, I'm glad to be able to come out here as a co-host because, I do a lot of talking in other spaces outside of Kinjaz all the time. For everybody who follows me and whatnot, it's fun to now finally be a host on Just Kidding News. And I recognize I sit there all the time talking about Kinjaz all day, talking, expressing all these other random thoughts about, I'm usually stupid and randomly funnier, but and I realize I rarely get a chance to come out here and speak to the same depths at which, the podcast has been able to transcend listeners and whatnot. So I'm happy to come here, share a little bit of, my sauce, and I hope the listeners will enjoy the season 2 of the Movement in the Shadows Kinjaz podcast. And obviously, Ben, you already know we're about to have some fun.
Oh, we're about to have a lot of fun. And
I already apologize in advance to everybody.
Shout out to our new partners, Broccoli Productions. Thank you guys so much for helping us put on a season 2. We're excited to partner up with you guys and
bring really fresh stories to people.
Absolutely. And with that said, man, dude, it's been a long year. Lots happened in the past year since the last time we recorded, and we'll get into the details with our very special guest. But
we do got one more guy to shout out. We got Glad Chad.
Oh, we have Glad.
We got Glad Chad.
We're trying to be bright, guys. We're trying to be bright these days.
Season of brightness, y'all.
Season of brightness. He's no longer mad. He's not Mad Chad. We got Glad Chad.
Yeah, we know Mad Chad, but we got Glad Chad. All right.
Well, we got Glad Chad.
We can't even turn the camera. It's a podcast. It doesn't matter. Thank you, Chad. Just say hi. Just yell it.
Heyo.
There it is.
There it is.
All right, back to regular flow.
So, yeah, guys, we're excited. We have a whole new season, all new guests, or we have maybe some returners. We'll see. You have to find out. But yeah, man, we wanted to just kind of get into everything that maybe, our fans or our listeners that maybe have been wondering what's been going on in the world of Kinjaz. And it's only right for us to get into the world of Kinjaz by bringing in Mike Song. Mike Song is in the pod. This is where he's revealed. He's unlocked.
Yo.
He's gonna
And
spit some bars right now.
spit some bars. Oh, speaking of spit, man, so that was a quarantine little thing that we picked up. You know, we had a little rap thing going, but that's
That's a tangent, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that for sure.
But I mean, man, let's start with life, man. There's a lot of exciting projects and all that, but you know, in the spirit of kin at all costs, man, there's a lot of stuff that happened within the kin. People became fathers, people got married, people got engaged. Man, Mike, give us the rundown. I feel like you have a good grasp on like all these, you know, fun little life updates.
All right. Well, first off, thank you for inviting me to be the first guest of season 2. I feel honored right now in this new, beautifully decorated room in Anthony's new place.
Right.
Hey yo.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess you know, to summarize a little bit or to like backtrack on the year and like this like lost time since people have last listened to the pod.
What was the last episode air date of the last podcast?
November 2020.
November 2020.
Damn, it's literally been almost a year. Holy crap. Well, I guess we'll start. I mean, there's so much has changed, but if we were to just start with like life and crew members and life happenings, I would start with, we have a lot of marriages, engagements, and new fathers in the crew.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We need to get one of those soundboard thingies.
That's what I'm literally already here for that. Yeah, it's all good.
No, I feel it. If we were to start with like, I guess I'll just list it off. Feel free to chime in.
Let's go fathers.
Just, we don't have to go on like announcements and shit, but fathers, we'll go. Let's leave that for last. I feel like
okay.
No, you're right. Engagements. We gotta go engagements last.
Engagements last.
Last.
Yeah,
engagements last. Yeah, you're right. We'll start with fathers, new fathers. Let's shout out Mr. Lee J. Razalan. A lot of quarantine babies. Hey, yo.
J. Shadow.
We got Mr. Jason Bueno.
Bueno.
Bueno's a new dad.
Buendizi.
Yeah. His son's name is Jiraiya.
I know.
Yo, when I heard that,
I
was like, yo, Stacy, you're down.
Yeah, she down.
You're hella down. Bueno, not surprised. Stacy, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So aside from Bueno, we got Mr. Pat Cruz. Pat Cruz, new father. Everybody be asking, and all of our like IG stories, when we say ask us anything, the number one most frequent question is, where the fuck is Pat Cruz?
That's me. I'm always in that. I'm like, where's Pat? That's me.
No, it's not. It's like Brandon. Yeah, shout out Brandon. Yeah, he comments on hella stuff.
Hell yeah, Brandon.
Hey, but everybody be asking. We got some like homies from India asking that as well recently. And you know, every time we say the same thing, which is fatherhood, and he moved back to the Bay. Hey yo! So shout out to Pat Cruz, new father, Jackson. Besides Pat, who else? We got John Ha.
Yup.
Freaking John. Yo, the names. Yo, the anime names.
That's what I'm about to say.
Yo, if y'all didn't think like Kinjaz was about their anime, Bueno's son is Jiraiya, and John Ha's son is Kame. And if you want to like piece that together, if it's not crystal clear to you why it's Kame, John Ha. Kame Ha.
Shout out Dragon Ball.
Yo,
you guys still haven't got it yet.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Malia, you are down.
She
like
down.
John, not surprised. Malia, you down.
Malia, not surprised.
That's true. That is true. Is that? Oh, we also have not a father yet, but Kevin
and
has
Dale
a baby on the way, and I think the due date's
wins.
really soon. Actually,
I know life, y'all. Come on, literal life.
Yo, so we got that's new fathers in the building. Life. That's how much life is changing. We're in that era of Kinjaz right now. Not like with all the change, like new fathers, new marriages, new unions. Let's give it up to Chad and Jolene.
Let's go.
What? Glad Chad just got gladder.
Glad Chad and Joe.
After Chad and Jolene, we got Jozar and Mao.
Whoa, let's
Boom,
go.
boom.
So many, y'all.
We also got Darren and Jen.
Yup.
Darren and Jen got married like 5 times, I feel like.
and their wedding's still next month.
Yeah. We still haven't gone to the wedding yet.
Somehow we still gotta go to the wedding.
That wedding's gonna be lit.
Yep.
Did they really just have 2 bachelorette party things?
did.
Is that what it was?
So. Yeah, I think
That's
so.
sick as fuck.
Yeah.
I need like 6 of them.
Yeah. Jason and Michelle.
Jason and Michelle.
Yeah.
Dang. Shout out COVID.
Yeah.
Shout out COVID.
Yeah, for reals. And am I missing anyone besides the last one? Besides the
La de Vera.
Oh, yeah, Caitlin.
La de Vera and Caitlin.
That's right. Congrats to La and Caitlin as well.
Why I feel like we still missing some just because we
Yeah,
got a big ass family, y'all.
There's got to be one more that we're not thinking of right now.
All I know is wedding gifts cost a bunch when you got this many.
That's the truth. I think that's it. I think those are the marriages
and engagements. Thank you.
Oh, actually, I mean, Megan's getting married this
Sunday.
Sunday.
Getting married Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Holy crap! That's Sunday.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm so glad I got a new suit though. Hey yo. Dang.
Yeah. So a lot of life, but last but certainly not least. Who got engaged, man? Who got engaged this year?
Hey, I forgot. Like y'all, if y'all didn't remind me, I honestly forgot I got engaged this year. I'm not trying to be like an asshole. Sorry, Nina, love you.
So you just did your own
so
reveal
much
right
shit.
now. He just did his own reveal of.
I'm just saying, for real, so much shit has happened this year. You know what I'm saying?
You're right, man.
To even think about that, but that was.
That engagement was epic, man. That was a Disney fairy tale engagement.
With jokes. We got to throw that out there. I'm not that far to,
it came together so perfectly. And it was, we'll get into, this whole, complex and all that, but it was the right way, just the perfect send off to the complex, man. And, for those of you guys who've been following, you guys probably already know by now, we are no longer in the building, the complex, but we did have to close that down. But that party and that event, that life milestone was like the perfect way for us to send it off, man. And it was great. And I was glad that we were able to share that with the kin. And yeah, man.
I want to share a little anecdote. I think Anthony's got to give us a play-by-play of the engagement and the plan. But give me a chance to just explain from an exterior POV, because something I feel like most people don't know is when we were closing the studio that last month earlier this year, I think that was in February, and once we knew we were gonna let the studio go. It was a bunch of thoughts running through our minds. It was a stressful time, straight up. We had to learn a lot of hard lessons, and we're figuring out what the next game plan was. But in the midst of all that, we had this mentality, right, where we're like, yo, it's like the last couple weeks in Complex. We got to maximize. Is that what we kept saying? We were like, we got to film all this content. We got to throw in whatever it is. Like what is the last couple weeks? Let's juice the value of this space that we invested so much into. But that led to all this pressure. And we were like, are we doing enough? Are we doing enough in these last couple weeks? And it got mad stressful, straight the freak up. I was losing sleep over it. I was like, what the freak are we gonna do in this last month, etc. But the mic drop is we're like, okay. So we're all chatting, we're saying, okay, maybe the last thing we can do is this showcase, right? Because the showcase, we can get all the homies to come out. We still film some content, but also if it's a small showcase, we still got to think about COVID. But if it's just the homies, we get to share vibes. It'll be a great last send off. And we get to film some content. That's just so many birds in one stone. Cool. And then we're like, damn, we got to do all this stuff. We got to figure out how to move out. We got to do all this planning. We got to put together a show. What are we going to do? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you know what? Instead of a Kinjaz performance, everybody just do a solo showcase and figure out how you're going to put together your own solo act and, you bring in dancers, etc. Right? So it's scrambly mode, right? Just the heightened tension that you're hearing from me right now. That was the vibe of that week, right? And we were just yo, what are we going to do? Oh my gosh, are you available? It's no, I'm doing their performance. It's oh snap. And so then we were seeing who's available to dance and who's piece. And it was what are you gonna do? And it was getting stressful. And then Anthony was like the last one where we were like, what are you gonna do for your performance, man? It's like, oh, I think I'm gonna do it. I was gonna do something with Jason Lin. Ving was like, yo, I'm gonna put together this like huge, like big number. And I was like, oh crap, but don't worry, I'm gonna like bring in all these like other homies, like not within the squad, so that like it doesn't like, you know, complicate schedules, etc. And then still we're like, yo, Anthony, what are you gonna do, man? And then finally, I think it was just me and Ant sitting in a room first at Complex. And I asked him, I was like, yo, what are you gonna do for your showcase, man? And then Ant just like casually is just like, you know, I think I'm gonna propose to Nina in my performance. And I was like, oh my God, like mind blown. Just like the craziest like uppercut Shoryuken moment, like a fucking Street Fighter Akuma, you know, when the screen goes white and it's just like,
the invisible,
the invisible. Because in my mind, I'm all trying to like figure out how we're gonna solve this and and I'm all like thinking about how to organize this shit. And then Ant goes, and I'm like, it was literally the solution to the vibe that was so unexpected, I think, because it was to be honest, you know, it was like a lot to think about, and there was like a lot of variables and a lot of like planning in leaving the space. Much less, you know, dealing with the landlord and breaking a lease and etc. Right, and move outs. What are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go? But like, there was like that was the single one thing that could completely change everybody's vibe that week, which was the blow up of we're doing this showcase and we gotta organize this. It's mad last minute, but then it's like hey, we're gonna close the show with Anthony's and Anthony's gonna propose to Nina in his performance. And like it was, I feel like it was like a mic drop every time. You get every person as a spread, we freaking spread the news like COVID one by one. And we were literally just like telling everyone and everybody. And I was like upstairs at Complex, and I would know when Anthony's telling someone, because from upstairs, Complex is big as fuck, it's like 12,000 square feet, right? And like, I would hear from downstairs, someone be like, oh my God. Or I hear a girl be like, oh, start crying almost, right? And I would just hear it from different spaces in Complex. And every time I just knew, like within that day or a couple of days, like, Ant told someone new that he's about to propose to Nina in his performance. And so, I want Ant to give the some more play-by-play to this, and now we're like spending hella time on this because Ant. Let me just tell you more context. Like they told me to like we filmed another episode before this, and we just like scrapped the whole thing because I was the guinea pig, and I was down to be the guinea pig as we like figured out season 2.
We're coming back to season 2.
For sure. We needed to practice, right? But like summarizing a whole year of important shit in one is like that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. But anyways, quick play-by-play, Ant. I just wanted to set up the context of where we're at with Complex. It was a mad stressful time. Ant mic drop, Akuma comboed everybody and was like, I'm going to make this the most happiest time. And there's no question that we brought the most maximum experience to closing out the space. Unquestionable. That was the last dance. Give us whatever play-by-play you want, man.
Damn, man.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that, man.
Cheers to that, man. Come on, guys. Chad, come on, man.
Yeah, I think the one of the most powerful moments, because I would honestly, maybe I was okay. I think it was appropriate for me to be a little bit selfish in that moment of like thinking about my proposal, but I wasn't really thinking. Because I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, if I'm going to do this, a million different things I had to think about. And I think something that kind of shook me in that moment was when you were telling me there was, I don't know, we're probably drinking too. You're like, this is why we have the complex. If there's one thing that we do out of here, this would be it. This would be fine. And it was all worth it because we were so honestly like damn near depressed, you know what I mean, of the things that we were experiencing, right? Like it wasn't just and I'll get to the proposal just for fun, but like it wasn't just like closing the complex, right? Like I remember in late 2020 we chose to close the Monterey Park Kinjaz dojo in an attempt to hold off, and maybe the pandemic would subside in some way, shape, or form, and we could hold on to the complex because we just tried to open this thing. You know what I mean? And just trying to open it, and then the pandemic happens. I'm not trying to complain because everybody experienced the pandemic, but it was just like there was this weird, like, is it ever gonna happen? We tried so hard, so like, just I wasn't really thinking about like what I guess other people were feeling, because I was feeling what I was feeling, and I was trying to understand what that was as well. But the second we got an opportunity to like have a private kind of thing where like enough people were there that I knew that she cared about, and my backup plan was I had booked a trip to Hawaii. So I told myself I'm gonna propose this year, and it was supposed to be when I came back from China at some point, right? Or to Hawaii, because Maui's just that, it just for me and her and family and history and all that stuff, it just made sense. So I also assumed her family assumed I was gonna propose in Hawaii. But Hawaii was my backup. It was I'm gonna do it there because it's nice and beautiful and romantic. If I don't figure out some other time, this fucking showcase comes up, which maybe I slightly incepted, but once the variables were like, oh man, if I propose to her in Hawaii, she's gonna be by herself. And she's a very family person, family friends. But being here, I was like, if I can get her family here, that'll change everything. So I was like, let me try and figure it out. And then obviously, again, selfishly, everybody's worrying about their own numbers. But of course, I had to have everyone involved, because I was like, there's no way. For everybody who knows me, I couldn't not have everyone involved. I don't know how to better explain that. You know what I'm saying? So just I think the most powerful moment of that experience, yes, sharing things with everybody and having them kind of like flip a little bit of their excitement for getting ready for the showcase, because everybody was for sure stressing. And I have to give so much love to even Tu and Gabri, who like they were already so responsible for helping us move out of the complex, which sucked balls, but they also like lost sleep over helping me organize and beautify my proposal by like getting all the materials, getting the costumes, like making the set design, getting the lights, like just organizing everything the right way, you know. So I couldn't have done it by myself, but that's also what allowed me to maybe do something greater for her, all the way down to like designing the lights and having the lights move midway, all the way down to like our scheduling of the performances and how it would like we would pretend that the last performance was a Kinjaz show, not my own, and it would just start with me, all the way to like the wrong costumes being delivered, so like Gabri needing to go out and get a bunch of brand new costumes that cost hundreds of dollars. I wasted so much money. Like all of it was amazing, but the most powerful moment was still going to her parents' house without her knowing to ask for her hand in marriage, and spending that time with her parents and having, I bought them Din Tai Fung, shout out Din Tai Fung, and we had a 3-hour lunch together. And the funny thing is they thought that because I wanted a private lunch, they thought something was wrong before they thought something was amazing that was going to happen. But just literally all of us, we just cried together, you know what I mean? And talked about, we for real, like,
that's beautiful, man.
Once her dad, I knew her mom was gonna cry, and like I love her mom, it's beautiful. But once her dad started tearing up, crying, I was done, dude. I was, but just like having all those experiences, of course, that just took a lot of like the pain of losing complex away in that time frame. So just getting everybody to like ride that joy and that love that I was experiencing, and obviously contribute to this like really semi cheesy, but I think fun number. We people suited me up. We took shots. You know what I mean? Mid-performance, people were throwing out flowers. Nobody had a full rehearsal, so people were messing up with the candle placements and like different. But it didn't matter. It was perfect the way it was. Like I couldn't done that. I could not have done that without the crew. I could not have done that without the pain of that timing, presenting opportunity. But like I said, so much has happened that even being able to like dance to an Ed Sheeran song specifically that would trigger her and bring her to tears, and have her best friends come around as fairies and dance around. So like even after all of that, you know what I'm saying? It's like I still forgot I got engaged this year. Isn't that shit crazy?
It feels like it was 3 years ago.
It felt yes.
Like forever
that's what I'm
ago.
saying. It just felt so long ago, just because the density of like how much human experience we've had to just endure with each other. Because like that's my personal shared experience that was still fully shared with everybody else.
Yeah.
And everybody else had their own personal experiences going on too, that we all had to be there for each other and support and figure out, you know, because life was just different.
Yeah.
It's like somebody took the Monopoly board and flipped it over and said restart, you know? So, but yeah, dude, that was fun to recount.
You know, like, but speaking of just the highs and the lows, I think everybody experienced some very extreme highs and lows. We lost loved ones, you know, new loved ones were brought into the world, and you know, new life is now being planned, and like, it's crazy. I think, all of us are, we're now in October, you know, this year's almost done, and then like you said, Mike, that felt like it was like 3 years ago. It really does. I'm like, holy crap, that was really this year. And but you know, you mentioned, Ant, like, you know, everybody's going through their version of their highs and lows of COVID, and like, but you know, not to be like grim about it. I mean, sure, there are lows, and let's not
just to respectfully move on.
Yeah, we gotta do it right.
Let's do it one time for everybody who lost somebody, you know, because we got those people on our team.
Okay, there it is.
There it is.
We got microphones falling over here, but
we got some of those people in our kin, and you know, and for everybody out there who's listening that endured anything, you know what I mean? We'll just do one little toast in a moment of silence. You know, it's a podcast, so really like 3 seconds of silence for everybody who had to get through it. Y'all, we in this together.
I'm gonna clink all y'all.
Cheers.
Chad.
There it is.
Taking life.
Yeah.
And but you know, there was definitely a lot of hardship. Still is. And I think one thing that we all have kind of we have our own versions of you know, COVID lessons, right? You know, like, what are the life lessons that we've learned? Our world has drastically changed. You know, the whole ecosystem of Kinjaz has been forced to shift, right?
Yeah.
You know, from closing down the dojo and then the complex, not to mention our studios in China, and
not all of them.
Anyone
who doesn't know.
Yeah. But you know, it's transition, and I think being malleable, being able to you know, we use that word pivot so many times. That's probably just like the most worn out word of this year, but that is the key word. It's learning how to, okay, this isn't the way anymore. What's the new way, right? And not only just for Kinjaz, this, like, you know, for dance as a whole, like the entertainment, you know, that whole industry as a whole. But you know, just to kind of bring it a little bit closer to home, you know, let's talk about a little bit of the, you know, how Kinjaz ecosystem has shifted, how it's currently shifting. I mean, that there's a whole, you know, rabbit hole of a conversation there, but let's talk about that. Like, you know, how has the ecosystem of Kinjaz shifted during this time of pandemic?
If you want to talk like ecosystem of Kinjaz, and you know, I feel like there's different like sections of Kinjaz, right? There's like our familial aspect, and if we were to like touch on that with like the new beginnings and endings, I would say on a like organizational level, and even just like execution level, the way we got affected, the way I like to explain it is straight up, like our bread and butter, all the major facets of that were turned upside down. For example, live performances, running studios, and producing live events, competitions, that all got wiped out for us, right? And so for us, we had to really reconfigure our operations, how to even process our livelihood for a company, not even as individuals. And so I think, you know, sustaining a crew, sustaining a company, while all of our main sources of sustainability straight up were all taken away, just like everybody else. You know what I mean? I know we're not alone in that at all, but for us, we had to reset a lot. And I think that, you know, we had opened up this brand new studio, this 12,000 square foot space in downtown LA at the top of the pandemic, like literally right before we had this huge celebration. We had invested so much into that. Shout out Sino Stage for just believing in us always, and just, you know, hand in hand going into that project with us. But yeah, at the top of the pandemic, that was all priorities started shifting towards, I would say like, it was like a hole in the ship and we were like preventing it from sinking. And I think as time went on, it was the realization of, oh, we need to build a new ship. But the beginning of the pandemic was like, let's plug the holes. Let's plug the holes, or like, what weight do we need to cut? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think the lesson learned was, we had to just rebuild. So, we closed down the Monterey Park studio, and, we haven't really even got closure from that. Not to say that this is the time and space to even super go into that, but, that was our baby. That was our crowd-funded Indiegogo, like, to y'all, anyone who donated to the Indiegogo, you know what I mean? That was our first space, and we had to close that down. Like, so that was step one of survival mode, right? We closed that down. And then all our focus was set on like, we got to make Complex work, right? This new compound. For anyone who never went to Complex, probably most of y'all didn't go to Complex because we closed it down. It was this dream space, y'all. It was our fantasy factory.
This was like the lost city of Atlantis.
Yeah, dude. It was literally like you walk in, the lobby was mad clean. You open up, this is whole vibrancy space. There was like a semi-infinity wall. There was a swagged out vibrancy office upstairs. And then you open up this giant glass wall. And then you go into like this huge dance room. From there, we had our gym. We had an LED screen, this like LED screen wall. Super swagged out. We would have never made that decision by ourselves, but hashtag SoundStage. And then upstairs, we had a podcast room for all sound and even like the music that began during the pandemic. Then we had like a lounge upstairs. We had a kitchen, fucking bathroom with showers. We had a conference room. Like, I'm just walking y'all through this to honestly just let you know, like, this will probably be the only time we even share that much about like what we lost, because everybody lost something. But, for anyone who just sees the wins that we celebrate online, like it's coupled with like, a lot of things we had to just like wipe the slate clean, right? So, I would say, we had to finally make the decision to fast forward. Getting to this past February, we closed down the complex, and that would be the first time since December of 2015 that Kinjaz no longer had a physical space. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's right.
Yeah. And so that was the end of that chapter, putting a bunch of our stuff in storage. You know what I mean? Kendrick, I feel like Kendrick's like a gargoyle that's just like, all right, I'll just stay in a closet now. You know what I mean? Yeah. We had to just put everything away. And, months later, right, here we are in October now, end of October. And now I think we're finally at the point where we turned that next chapter and we're like, damn. We learned some hard lessons. We had to deal with some landlords that are not our favorite people.
Not our best friends.
Nah, but hella motivated us and gave us hella fire and fuel moving forward into this new chapter of Kinjaz. And now I think, we're in an era where I'm honestly thankful for the clarity that was brought about by the pandemic now. Like that's the biggest thing for Kinjaz. We got crystal clear LASIK. That's what that was. But it was like a LASIK that like you feel the burn. Like you didn't actually, they don't put you to sleep. You know what I mean? Anesthesia. That's what it was. It was like, it's like we had to make a deal with God. And he was like, you want LASIK? I'll give you LASIK. But like, I'm not going to put you under. And we're like, burned our pupils, and we're just sitting through it, sitting in it. But then now we're like, I think now finally like taking off the bandages, right? Of just like, okay, this is like crystal clarity now. And now I'm actually thankful to get the flame on our eyeballs.
You know what I love about even like the concept of getting clarity, because we had the intention of Complex to be this thing, right? We call it the fantasy factory. We had plans to create the best type of content, host the illest of events and things like that. And And we actually did a lot of that stuff as much as we could in safety. But in terms of like what I have, like, even as you're talking, I'm just thinking right now of, I have so many fond memories of a place that we were barely in, you know, in terms of just like the events, even the small little gatherings that we did privately, right, safely, our K-drama nights, to like, you know, the birthday celebrations, to the low-key engagement celebrations,
to the moments we had to tell people, hey, stop sleeping over
and stop sleeping. A lot of people spent some nights there.
It's okay, Chad, you were okay.
And
yeah, Chad has a pass for sure.
Chad had a pass because he slept there, because he'd have to work at like 5 in the morning for us.
Chad was grinding,
That's why
man.
he's glad Chad, man.
And you know, I think just I feel like just the relationships that, you know, co-ops, you know, we have our internal co-ops group that was all about, you know, holding it down, the operations of, you know, who is going to be there day to day, just to kind of make things work. Not only to maintain the space, but the operations of Kinjaz business and businesses. And like, I don't know, man, I just have so many fond memories that, though shutting something down, of course, there's disappointment. There's like, man, like that sucks. Sure, there's that. But like, I look at that as Complex was a success, you know, especially how we're talking about how we closed it out. Like, we created some fantasy moments, you know. We did create some really dope content. Like, you know, even before we even built it out, we were already shooting stuff in there. Like, we shot the Lecrae Andy Mineo coming in hot video when it was just like a blank canvas warehouse, you know, but which was very fitting for the vibe that they needed. And like, there's so many things and new things that were birthed. Like, Charlie started creating music in the audio room, and like, people found new passions. And man, I just feel like there were so many successes that came about from the place that we had intended for that stuff to happen there. And though it was short-lived, it was a success. And yeah, I'm just as we're talking now, I'm just seeing it, you know, firsthand, and it's dope, man. It's dope. And
you know, Complex is like fucking Asgard and Thor, though. You know, like Asgard is like post Ragnarok. It's really not about a place. It's about like its people. You know, like those experiences, those memories. Like, yeah, man, for sure. I think I'm still gonna be in denial about the pain of like closing down the complex and the dojo in ways that I won't ever understand. You know, for a long time, that shit was our baby, but you know, just like Asgard, like, you know, Kinjaz is his people. So I don't doubt, you know, more life memories, more life experiences. And I think that spot, you're right, we did so much in the time that we were given. I can't wait to truly see, especially in the new generation, of clarity, you know what I mean? Like, what we can really, really get done. Because like, it almost feels like we're just getting started now again. You know, maybe it was a forced restart, but it definitely feels like we're just at a whole other level, you know, and I'm thankful for that too. So, hey, to the complex,
we're
to the
gonna find every
dojo,
excuse to cheers it up on this episode.
to everybody who continued to support us, especially in the beginning with the Indiegogo campaign, that gave us the confidence, you know what I mean, and you literally gave us the actual spot to realize that we could do more than just like get together and dance, but like we could create space, we could create community, we can meet new people, both in dance and the students that show up. Like that led us to where we are, and even though we don't have that anymore, we're somewhere else. And let's just toast up to that. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Boom, 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 boom.
Are we finally fucking giving ourselves closure? Jesus.
Dang, yeah, this is therapy for us, guys.
This is our therapy for us to actually like talk about that.
You know, but yeah, speaking of moving on, finding new things, I find like a lot of interesting timing things that have happened over the past year, because it's not like, oh shoot, like we're in a pandemic, what should we do now? But there was already things that were kind of in the works, right? Yeah. And call it serendipity, call it whatever you want to call it, but like, you know, there were some pretty big moves, maybe seemingly kind of random things that kind of popped up on in our ecosystem. We successfully launched a noodle brand. And though that may sound random, those who follow us know that's absolutely not random. That is very much
Not when you got kids named Jiraiya and Kame. What's up?
So yeah, let's talk about Kinjaz noodles, man. We got a food product, guys.
Let's talk about Kinjaz.
Let's talk about it. Officially brought to you by Shameless Plug.
Boom.
Yeah, guys, we got a noodles brand, bro.
Let's put that.
Look at that. Look at that.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Boom.
That's Gen 1 of the box too, right? That's Gen 1.
Right, pre-Costco.
Yeah. Pre-Costco.
That's crazy to say, right?
Yeah.
What the hell?
You guys about to make me pick up my glass again.
Goodness.
Yeah, man.
I don't even know. I don't even know how to get.
Well, I don't know if we've ever really gotten into like the origin of it, because it's not like we decided, hey, we're in a pandemic, let's shift. But that was already in the works, before 2020. So let's talk a little bit about the origins of that.
Yeah, I would say, just to start off, like that was actually a huge full circle moment.
A big ass circle.
Yeah, a huge full circle moment. But beyond that, square one with Kinjaz noodles is that's always been bucket list, and we've always been about prioritizing bucket lists in life. That's ever since Ambu Black Ops, our debut performance, and then our road trip in 2014 where we drove from LA to New York. I mean, I guess only some of y'all know about this stuff.
Technically, New York to LA.
You're at New York to LA, and so I feel like we've always been about just making bucket lists and
if you want to do it.
Straight
you gotta
up.
execute.
And a noodle shop was always, I have to say, packaged noodles was not in our original bucket list. I could have never imagined this for reals.
For sure.
But a noodle shop, ramen, for me, it's always been a ramen shop. Ant has always talked about a pho shop. And Ving, actually, they want to.
It's called Best Pho-Rens.
Yeah.
If you take that name, I will hunt you down and then I will eat your pho.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Pho-Rens. Best Pho-Rens.
And I will give you a good Yelp rating.
And I will
hunt your restaurant down and then I will bring a party of 5.
And so that's always been on the bucket list for us. And, through life and serendipity, we got to reconnect with Alex Kocheviwat. We have a Kinjaz Convos episode about this as well. But Alex Kocheviwat, he's our brother first and foremost. I met him when I was, in 2006, back in the day. And as well, met him, 2000, probably same time. And he was there for the beginning of Kinjaz. We were literally in the office. He was the owner of a clothing brand called Collusive. I don't know if y'all remember that, but like it was on every single crew on ABDC. That foil on the t-shirts, literally every single crew was wearing it. That was the brand. And they used to sponsor me. They used to sponsor Kinjaz. Anthony used to work for Collusive.
I was the sales and marketing director, and I was fat.
Yeah, and so only OG Kinjaz fans will know this stuff.
Yeah, you know.
But if you know, you know, and that's the connection to this, and I'll get to how it all connects to Kinjaz noodles in a bit. But Alex is the homie, and so when we kind of really took Kinjaz full force, Alex went on a journey into CPGs, which is consumer packaged goods, right? And he really just created like a food empire. And so when we reconnected in recent years, the conversation turned into, we got to do something together. And we always talk about food, and you do food and we do food, and it could be so great. And it was always one of those things where we're like, yeah, we got to do it. And we started like throwing ideas in the pot, right? And as we started throwing ideas in the pot, it really started to pick up more steam in the past couple of years. And then it wasn't until, honestly, the pandemic that it really changed from that being on our list and one of the projects that we were working on, and it shot it to top of the list of priorities straight up. And so that's one of the things where I'm glad for the pandemic, the LASIK surgery, right? The awoken conscious LASIK surgery for Kinjaz, because the unique thing is that, not only did live performances, studios, whatever, event production get taken away, but what another unique thing is that there hasn't been a time when all of us have been in town for a full year, not traveling, teaching at conventions, teaching classes, whatever it is, performing. Like that hasn't happened since the beginning of Kinjaz, right? It's been 11 years since 10 years when it was a pandemic, since that had happened. So it also got laser focused. It gave us the opportunity to talk about something and obsess about the project every day and immediately just be able to come back to our action items the next day over and over. Everyone's in the same time zone. And that kind of like unique superpower, I think, is what really fed Kinjaz Bang Noodles a lot as well. It gave us that capability to be like, yo, we're sifting through this broken ship of Kinjaz and we got this noodle thing. And at the end of the day, like, we had all sorts of conversations about like, what does it even mean to have like interactions in person versus digital and your interactions and what can we trust? Like, what is the world ever going to be the same? Right. All these kind of crazy thoughts. But really for us, we're like, we will always love eating. We will always love delicious food.
Yeah, and I think the pandemic really shined a light on the idea of like what was non-essential versus what was essential.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like we got the bottom end of the totem pole when the world literally was like, hey, dance outside of like people in their living room on TikTok was a non-essential business thing during a time of global crisis. Even in LA, gyms and dance studios were on the last tier of businesses that could reopen in phases. Like we were totally at the bottom, you know what I'm saying? So just the idea of recognizing our entire world and ecosystem was just considered non-essential. The idea that we had this fleeting concept of something that could be so essential that when the pandemic started, even the shittiest food was flying off of the shelves. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like, all right, maybe this is a sign.
Absolutely, man. And I think, as we started to have these conversations and we really like spitballed about this noodle idea, this plant-based, spicy, delicious noodle.
Not too spicy.
Not too spicy though. But if you like spicy food, it's not spicy. If you don't like spicy food, it's spicy. But as we start talking about Kinjaz and just straight up having all sorts of conversations, we had to zoom out and look at Kinjaz and be like, what is Kinjaz? What is Kinjaz without a space? What is Kinjaz without performances? And I feel like, Ant saying like if we were, Asgard, I view it like I just rewatched Star Wars. Like
nice.
the prequels. And I feel like we're literally like in that similar fashion. My analogy is like the Jedis when like they were like wiping everybody out. And I feel like we had to move in the shadows during the pandemic. And straight up, what I mean by that is, we had to sit deeper into like, on a dance level, we're like choreographing for like artists, and we always choreograph for different like K-pop artists and artists and other projects and whatnot. But I think we had to sit deeper into that pocket and just kind of hide as Kinjaz. But as we were like kind of hiding as Kinjaz, it also gave us an opportunity to be like, yo, like what is the foundation? So much has to change, but what is our absolute, like at the core of Kinjaz? Like what are we truly about? And how do we want to move forward with our foundation? And what we realize is that like, we've subconsciously been building this universe. It's not like we set out, a lot of Kinjaz is not like we set out to create this global international dance brand. Truly, a lot of it is just curiosity led us there and a willingness to move past failures and to extract a lot of lessons. And I think that, with Noodles, we realize like, yo, we've built unknowingly just by way of random dance sets and videos and chronicles. Or like, yo, I think our natural interests have just kind of led us to building this like time and space of characters, a sensei, master Sifu kind of concept, to a dojo, to Kendrick the Tiger. And as we're building out our lore, I think that's when we realize like, yo, like a noodle shop is like, for some people might be like, yo, that's hella random. But for us, like we fucks with that heavy. Like I will stand by that. I'm talking about getting a noodle tattoo. You know what I mean? Like I truly am thinking about that. And so
once you get that, I'm gonna get that pho on my knee. You already know. I gotta get a pho bowl on my bad knee because it's my pho knee. It's funny.
Got it.
That's really
I know
funny.
it's so stupid
bone.
after I explain it, but I'm
Funny
like,
bone.
for some reason, even when people like say it's stupid, I still want to get it. So
Oh, that's really
That's
good.
yeah,
pretty
That's really
genius.
good, man.
thank you. Oh, thank you.
That's
That's
a
like the
good-
first
just-
compliment I ever got on it. Usually it's a
No.
diss, but we can move on from there.
No, damn. So yeah, obviously we're down to get freaking ramen pho tattoos. So like we know that's something that is at the core of our being. And so this is my long-winded way of explaining like Kinjaz Bang noodles was kind of a no-brainer for us actually. It was like, yo, if the opportunity and the chance is there, we have to go for it. There is no questioning of, is this a wrong move? Is this random? We got a lot of that, from I'm not saying like a lot of people like doubted it, but it's just question marks. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. But for us, it was like tunnel vision. It was like, yo, only we are gonna be thinking about the survival of our organization. And so we had to like really strap our boots and freaking just go focus and see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what we did. And then that's how Kinjaz Bang noodles really came into fruition. Is like during the pandemic, we just like tunnel visioned on this noodle brand and this idea of like, how do we evolve the idea of a noodle brand? Not just, oh my gosh, let's, get like, make some deal with Shin Ramen and just repackage everything. You know what I mean? It's not about that. It was about literally like, what are the aspects of noodles that we can evolve? How can we make anyone that knows Kinjaz understand and feel like, yo, this is how Kinjaz would do noodles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, add the swag, innovate a tray. You know what I mean? Bring in like some sort of healthier option to the industry. Present it and market it in a totally different way with different characters and costumes and whatnot. Like, we just wanted to have fun doing it. And you know what? Like, for people who don't know too, like, honestly, I'll speak on behalf of myself, but I know everybody in this room feels the same way. I love business and just building and discovery as much as I love dancing. If anything, that's why I love dancing and creating or choreographing. It's because at the end of the day, you're building something. Whether you're building a piece of art or you're creating, you know what I mean, a formula for success or something that can engage or inspire. It's like, that's just something that's always been, what the reason why we've chosen to take those half steps to like create an apparel line, to create a dance competitions, to bridge countries and continents together through different dance studios, you know what I mean? To a production house and dance team so that we can cater to more in-house clients and all that stuff. Like, we've always wanted to expand and build just as much as we've enjoyed dancing. So even the idea of noodles, like, it may be far-fetched for people when they think of Kinjaz as a dance brand, but when they know the people behind it and what we've always wanted to do, I think that, real fans would understand, like, yo, we're builders and creators first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think timing is everything. When you talk about half stepping, which I totally fucks with, because that's just the perfect way to describe like how we got to this point. And I think that, if the pandemic happened like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even, Kinjaz Bang noodles wouldn't have happened. We weren't ready for that. And I think that, when Ant mentions like the half steps, it's literally us figuring out things step by step and not going too far and just taking some crazy delusional leap into some new industry. I think it began with like your natural progression, right? Like with any industry, I feel like, whatever you're in, like a first thought, common times, is merch. You're like, okay, we need to make merch. So that was our first step. We sold Kinjaz t-shirts out of the back of our van that we were on a road trip, right, in 2014. And that was like that first step into, okay, let's make merch. And then from merch, the next step was like, we should get a space, right? And we had to figure that out. And then through getting a studio and crowdfunding for a studio, the next half step into that is, well, I wouldn't say this is chronological, but I would say like media and production was like the layer that was like underlying to all of this. I think as everything was evolving with dance, like I would like to pride ourselves with the fact that like we identified early game that like, yo, this evolution of dance is hand in hand with media. The way that vocals and singing is hand in hand with sound. It's not like vocalists are anywhere without microphones and premium sound, right? Dance is the same way to amplify that, right? It's hand in hand with how that is being presented and the different forms in media.
At least in today's generation.
Exactly,
for sure.
exactly. And I think that, through these half steps, right? If it was with merch and the space and then media production to be the foundation, the hand in hand with dance, then I think that from there we realized like, okay, like what would it take to produce an event? What would it take to produce an event overseas? What would it take to open up a studio overseas? So through these half steps, it also turned into not just getting into a new industry, but then getting into a completely just globalizing a brand and then getting into franchising a brand. And so from figuring that out, right, and learning the hard lessons, I don't want to at all come off like, yo, we are these like business,
you kind of coming off like you're killing it. Yeah, for sure.
But like, I want to preface it with like, there was no, like, we didn't know that this is where we'd be right now. But what I can say is that like, we did believe ourselves enough to try things and to build teams. And I think we had to build teams to continue to learn from new specialized producers, to be able to half step into new fields and industries. And I think, timing is everything, because as we start to get more confident with, the different skill sets that we had and what we'd learned over the years and our experience as a company and organization, just as a freaking crew, that evolved and went into other products. And I think we evolved into, let's make a toy, let's make an umbrella. Let's see how far we can go and who we can collaborate with to expand our presence. And that's kind of like now what led us to, again, just have the confidence, that timing of being like tested with the pandemic. But like when everything else was taken away, I think it was that leap of faith of like, okay, yo, you've like taken away like all of like our other weapons, but like I'm pretty sure we can use this lightsaber. We can figure out. Yeah. I've been around the lightsaber long enough. We did all the other Jedi mind tricks, and I feel like we were at that step, and we're gonna fucking turn on this lightsaber, baby. So let's fucking go. And so that's kind of like I would say like in a nutshell, just feeling wise, like how we got to Kinjaz Bang Noodles.
So as I'm even hearing you kind of unravel this, not only the Kinjaz Bang Noodle journey, you really went from like the origins of Kinjaz to present day mentality. And I think from our listeners, our listeners, they're kind of, I look at our demographics. We're like the 25 to 35-year-old demographic. That's kind of our listening audience here. And, us coming from dance, right? You mentioned we're not business school graduates. We didn't come into this like, I want to dance because I'm going to be a dance entrepreneur. We started somewhere and we found opportunities that opened themselves up because we found ourselves like, wow, I did this and then I met this person, or now this opportunity kind of presented itself. But I think one thing that I see that, even I can even put myself as an outsider, because I didn't join Kinjaz until 2014. You guys had already been kind of going. And I from what I saw and still see now is a very like organic, natural, knowing who you are. This is us. This is what we believe in. This is what excites us. Let's explore that. And now that we explored that, oh shoot, now this excites us. Let's explore that. And I hear so many people, like there's a lot of questions that I hear from people who are, maybe in that dance space of like, oh man, like we want to do what Kinjaz did. It's like, well, there is a kind of a formula to it, but you have to do it in your own way. It's not like you can follow our roadmap and then recreate Kinjaz, because that's already been done, right? And so, even from knowing you guys we have history, right? We've known each other since we were essentially kids. Yeah. And then now I look at you guys as businessmen, as entrepreneurs, as visionaries, as people who can execute, who can be specialized producers. And I'm framing this question for our listening audience, right? Because it's it's great to celebrate, and we're celebrating our wins, and we're kind of just like unpacking life over the past year. But before just like going into this, let's we've built this and this. I'm sure there's a lot of people like, well, damn, like how do I do my version of that? So what are your guys' thoughts? I'd love to hear both of you guys' thoughts on terms of like, how do you find that path for yourself? Like, and I'm sure it's a lot of self-exploration. You have to ask yourself the hard questions, like, what do I really care about? What do I really believe in? Like, what is, like, let's just say, okay, the next pandemic happens. Like, what am I really going to try to put my time into? And because I think that, what I look at Kinjaz now is like, yeah, we started as like this dance crew to become a dance brand, and now we're an idea. You know what I'm saying? We are a lifestyle, and to go from like something so niche to something so broad, it could be very intimidating. Like, damn, I don't know how to freaking do that, So like, from your guys' perspective, how did we go from niche dance, and not to say that that's not who we are anymore. That's in our blood. That's in our DNA. But then how do you go from there to just be like, bro, like the world is your oyster. Like now you can kind of go do whatever you want. So, and we haven't figured it out. Like we've mastered that, but like we're kind of in that space where like, whoa, like our eyes are now open to be like, man, there's way more that we can kind of do with, with what we're doing. So I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on that.
I'm gonna let Ant go first because I've been talking hella right now.
Let's go, Ant.
Yeah, first of all, there's no one answer, right? I look at everybody. Everybody's always trying to get to maybe the top of a mountain that everybody sees, but there's a million pathways to get to the peak, right? And even if you go up the same trail, it doesn't mean you can't divert halfway along the way, or pick up somebody else along the way, or just go down and take a break and come back up on another side, right? So there's for sure no answer. And I think that's the season I'm in, understanding that there's no, I'm okay living life with no answers as long as I have direction, because direction is what leads me to the next answer or to the next question. That seems vague, but I think everybody gets it, right? For us, I also don't think, I'm not trying to sound cocky about this, but I also don't think that there's like a way that the most successful, not saying that's us, but successful people can just like give secrets and then everybody can apply
that. Yeah,
and make it work for them. But from a generic point of view, it's almost like you could take a bare bones human concept of like survival of the fittest. If everybody even gets the same cheats and rule books, only the people that endure, you know what I mean, or can withstand, whether it be one obstacle to the next or whatever, call it pivoting, call it adapting, call it maturing or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like only the people that have that grit to go farther than the next are the people that will go farther than the next. There are times when I'm like, I know we have no idea what we're doing, and the only thing that gives me confidence is we have grit. I know that, you know what I'm saying? And that's okay. And the other thing that gives me confidence is that I know that I have a we. You know what I'm saying? If there's anything, it's finding people that you want to fucking run with that like continue to make you want to run. That's it. You know what I'm saying? If you trust them, if you have a good time and they constantly, you're pushing each other, then there's road to keep discovering. And that's like really what it's about, constantly discovering road versus just getting to the peak. Because there have been times, and again, we've already spent some time on this episode talking about things we lost, but like it's okay to talk about things we found and succeeded with. It's like the second I know that we hit a peak is a second. It's like I don't know if you guys remember the episode from The Simpsons where Homer's climbing up this mountain and shit like that, right? And he like gets to what he thought was the peak, and the second he gets, he's all tired. And he's like, "Woohoo! I did it!" And then he turns around only to see that the peak is like way up there, and it's just that I feel like is life. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't think that we like changed from a dance team to an organization or a business or whatever just because we like got smart or whatever. I think it's because we grew up. Time just passed. And we were in a different place of life. Think about the actual thing about being like a professional dancer, and then suddenly you're like 35, plus. It's like you're not thinking about dance all the time the same way as like an 18-year-old is just dancing all day with no other bills to pay or something. No offense, I'm just saying hypothetically. You're just in a different place, so you end up with those people that you're ride or die with. You're just kind of like at a new terrain of the mountain, or you did hit the peak that you thought was a peak, only to realize that you're only at the bottom of the next level.
Yeah.
So again, no answer. Just as long as you got direction, make sure you follow direction. Make sure you have the grit to keep going, and then know that like doing it yourself, whether it's like, oh, that's gonna help you. Fuck that. It's just more fun to do it with people, especially if they inspire and push you. And that's the thing that's kept me going, and I know that's the thing that's kept us going.
He snaps to that.
That's a snappy moment.
Snaps.
I'm gonna snap it up.
Snaps.
You know, and as you say all that, you know, I mean, I personally have learned so much about each individual within our organization. And shout out to, you know, the new people who have kind of joined the very integral parts of our machine here at Kinjaz. And, you know, we'll get to that. And I've learned a lot of stuff about myself. And I think that's also something that, you know, COVID, at least for me personally, I'm sure you guys have your own versions of it, of your own self-reflective, like, acknowledgments, like, okay, here's what I really want to do. Here's what I'm really good at. Here's what I'm really passionate about. Here's what I'm not good at. Here's what I'm not passionate about. And I think those conversations are very important just for life, because, you know, we can get stuck in, let's just say, and I my reference, I'm going to age myself here, Married with Children, Al Bundy, right?
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
That's
I'm
it.
pretty sure everybody knows that, because I mean, we got people that like fucking submit Eiffel 65 Blue or like Derudo Sandstorm for us.
Yeah, we're a
they
bunch
for
of old
sure
guys.
are our age, the old ass fans.
But my point in bringing up Married with Children, Al Bundy, shout out Al Bundy. You know, he was an all-star, you know, football player in high school. And you know, he keeps referencing his glory days at Polk High, how he scored, you know, X amount of touchdowns in one game. And that's literally like his life highlight, right? And, you know, and then he grows up to be a shoe salesman. And, you know, story goes, he's not a very happy guy, but he keeps going back to his glory days. And, you know, we can all get into our own versions of that, right? Like, man, like I did this at this one point, and like, yeah, but like, where are you at now, right? Like, how are you growing? How are you progressing now? And again, I think that it takes a lot of humility to acknowledge, okay, that was then, what's now? And the now doesn't have to look like then, you know? And I think as humans, we are resilient and we have the ability to learn new tricks. I am firmly not a believer in the whole, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, because I think as teachable as you are, you can learn whatever you want, you know? And so, like, I think, you know, what I've seen and learned from everybody and myself is like, man, if you stay humble, you stay teachable, and you're willing to put in the grit and be patient, you know, like Gary Vee said, you know, the person who can hold his breath the longest wins, you know? And it's like, there you go. Like, how much lung capacity do you have? And like, you know, the pandemic, yeah, like that's the tester of all people, right? Like how much patience do you have? How long can you hold your breath? And are you willing to pass the baton? Are you willing to delegate? Are you willing to be like, you know what? You're actually way better at that than I am. Like, run with that. You know, I'll be over here. I'll man this station. And I think, you know, some people are built to do it themselves, but I think what I love about Kinjaz, what I love about our team is, man, we really empower, we elevate, and because of that, we can rely on each other. And that's something that I've seen us do really well during this time. And with that, like, it's opened up the horizons of Kinjaz. Kinjaz has always kind of been known to be like, oh, are you guys just an all guy crew? Like, you know, and then we're like, no, but like, that's kind of what it's kind of just ended up being from the beginning, but that's not who we want to stay as. And there's been a evolution, and, you know, and there are new members, and, you know, we can get into that whole, you know, and like, there are now amazing women in our ecosystem that are doing amazing things that have really helped us keep this thing going, you know. And, you know, let's talk about like how we're now, you know, sort of evolving into a new space and willing to kind of be challenged with how the world is changing. It's like, okay, cool, the world's changing, so are we. And how do we stay true, you know, in an ever evolving world?
You know, I just want to point out straight up that like I feel like timing, again, I said timing is everything, but regardless of the world, I think what the natural truth of Kinjaz is right now is that, especially in this season where we've had to reformat everything about the crew and our foundational understanding of everything, I think there's a lot of you also have like a fast forward of closure to what once was, and then also a fast forward to like clarity in ambition, new direction, and just what the evolution is. And so, you know, the way that I view like, you know, this decision to break the gender gates of Kinjaz is, I think for one, we have to note that like Kinjaz began, like we keep saying, there was no dream to be this giant international global dance brand, right? It started off, we called it freaking Ombu Black Ops in the beginning, right? It's a Naruto reference for anybody that doesn't know Naruto. And so clearly it was just this like performance that we thought would be hella fun, right? And I feel like, you know, as things evolved, like as we've been mentioning, now we're at this point where, you know, it went from a one-time performance to like this, like, you know, we would go on retreats and crusades and have all these traditions. And then we started building and hosting competitions and building to a business. And then I feel like finally we got to this point where, you know, as our ambitions grew, we realized it's not about even like, yo, we should, you know, think about adding females to the crew in some sort of like, this is the right thing to do, quote unquote, type of way. But I think it's truly because as we realize like, yo, now the idea is like evolving Kinjaz as an organization, and like our dreams are so much bigger than dance, so much bigger than anything we could have ever dreamed of as 21-year-olds. Now I'm realizing, we've all realized that it's so naive. It's not about even where the rest of the world is at. It's incredibly naive to think that we could reach our dreams with any sort of gender or limitation on or restriction, whatever that may be, to like what makes a Kinja. And I think it's that realization that is most indicative of where we're at now with adding female members to the squad. Because again, it's not like we just went and found some females. We went and looked within our organization, and it's the titans that we already know, that we've been in a space with, where you look at them and yeah, you do have those conversations with yourself of like, wait, you're a boss, you kill it at what you do, and we vibe with you so much. Like, yeah, truth be told, if you were like a male in earlier years, you'd be like, wait, you'd be a Kinja already. And I think those, if I were to be absolutely honest, those are the conversations where we really ask ourselves like, okay, this is time to evolve. That's on a more like very internal level when I look at each new Kinja one by one, or female Kinjas. And I'll just straight up, you know, for anyone who doesn't know it, because you just haven't been following Kinjaz at all.
Let's call them out.
And it's all good because, the algorithm, I realize like you can't expect everybody to know what's going on with Kinjaz all the time. Straight up, for anyone that doesn't know, our newest female members, shout out Coco Sweet, Addie Chan, and Bailey Sock.
Boom.
These are the first 3 female Kinjas of. And that's not to say that we haven't been working with females. Females haven't been empowering the squad in early days. But I think this is who we chose to announce in this first chapter. And I think we have deep history. Feel free to refer to our posts about the history that runs deep with them. But, in short, this is my long-winded way of saying, like, it's so naive to think that we could have reached our dreams alone. And it's not about, as we're stripping down, there's this theme of what is the true foundation of Kinjaz, and we're rebuilding a ship and we're holding on to like our foundation. the true foundation is not actually about brotherhood. The true foundation is about like good humans and straight up like who is the absolute best at what they do. You know what I mean? It's that the duality of like people we genuinely want to spend time with and hang out with, but also crush it and are pushing themselves. And I think that's the space we always want to facilitate for the rest of our lives, to evolve, to always be learning, is just people we want to genuinely spend time with, but also people that are like constantly pushing themselves to learn, because we're all in different seasons. And some people are going to be in crazy seasons of growth while others might not be. But I think it's that balance of always flowing. And if you can't see my hands right now because you're listening, I'm like flowing my hands like this wave. It's this continuous wave.
It's a very practiced wave.
It's a sick wave.
It's a continuous wave of life, because we respect timing and seasons, and we just have to keep going and flowing and growing our understanding, evolving our understanding of what Kinjaz is, what it means, and also what it means for like our future and the community that we want to build. And I think it's about, you know, a huge difference is it's not about just young boys being like, I could be a Kinjaz one day. It's about anyone. And I'm not saying everyone wants to fantasize about that either, but for whoever might have that thought, it's like, yo, it's for anyone. And even we are still evolving, and we will continue to evolve the definition of what it means to be a Kinjaz.
Yeah, and I think it's just exciting to be able to like share that, because like you said, it wasn't always our original ambition to turn this into something giant. And just that's the only place that naivety comes. Like, it's only naive for us to reach like crazier ambitions only because now we have crazier ambitions. But beforehand, you know what I mean? It's not like people were like, not hella people were like, why do you only have guys? Like, dude, it's okay when we were young for us to have a men's club. It's not like we didn't like ladies. We did everything for like our moms or our sisters or our girlfriends or whatever. Like, we love women. We just love having a place to also escape and be stupid guys. Like, that's healthy and normal for adolescent men in that sense. And I believe that that's also what gave us a unique edge for doing whatever it might have been. I think we even had women on the team the very first time we had rehearsed at Amba Black Ops. We would not have done a bunch of the shit that we did on stage, and maybe we wouldn't have been remembered for it. So I'm thankful, you know what I'm saying, that like the origins were what they were, but I'm also thankful for us to like grow and continue to like learn and check ourselves as men and as growing men, you know, and understanding the true power of, you know, everyone, human beings in general, and their impact. And like you said, Mike, you know, we all grow and we all change at different times, but, you know, regardless of the times that we are in with society, I also just chalk it up to, we just have way, way bigger dreams and goals, and I'm proud of us for that. But of course that means we're going to have to break ourselves down a little bit in order to rebuild stronger and smarter. And that includes, you know, evolving our we.
Evolving our we. I love it.
Fucking hype, man. Honestly, yeah, I think about honestly, these conversations that we have, because obviously we've been talking about this so much. I also want to not preface it. I want to like put toppings on this conversation where it's not even dominated by what's right. It's dominated by excitement, because it's like, yo, if let's look at Bailey. Bailey it's not the idea of
she all right.
Yeah, it's not the idea of like, you know, we should do this at all. It's like, yo, she's amazing, and she's been in our classes since day one, and like she's always been good vibes. She's a dope human, and she's crushing it. I'm just excited. I think about it like, you know what I mean, like the Lakers adding new members. And so I think that's the true
and the history evolution there too. Like, she's been like one of like our number one students since she was like 6 or 8 years old or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like when you see like the student truly, obviously, you know, we might not ever give her this just yet, but really when we see a student come to some sort of mastery of themselves, it's like, man, that's just such, like you said, such excitement. And it's like to even just share in life journeys together. Like that really is what it comes down to. That's what Kinjaz was always about anyway. You know, nothing's really changed. It's just like life changes, you know what I mean? And to truly even still stick to who and what we are is to really find family in everyone, you know? But you're right. I mean, our other female Kinjaz smashing it, Jason Lin. Jeez. Such a beauty.
Jason's hot.
Like that.
I love it.
That.
I love
I'm gonna
it.
drink to Jason.
Hey, let's drink to Jason one time. Come on. Jason Kin.
Come on now, Jason Kin.
Hey.
Jason Kin. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm drinking to all of our new fans.
But you know what's dope about even, you talking about, it's not like we're like, oh, we should start looking at females and women to bring in like
not at all.
This was
man.
These individuals have been in our ecosystem and have put in. Oh wait, hold on. I think we need a chat. Chad wants he wants to join in on the toast. We're gonna pause one time. We're gonna pause this. We can cut this part out.
No, you're good. It's good. We did have a good reset though.
Yeah.
So we can start up however we want. Yeah.
Okay, good.
That was it. Right when we drank, there was like a nice reset right before.
I tried my best to very calmly pour this for everybody, but I realized that like this is very complex.
I know. Yeah.
And it takes like gravity a certain way. You got to do it like
the fact that it's this tiger, it's just a spectacle no matter what. You can't keep it low key.
It's okay. I was like, damn, I'm getting to like the deep female shit. I don't want people to think don't think it's funny and everyone's like laughing and shit.
It's audio, guys.
Okay,
if you guys stay professional, we would have been all right.
We can edit.
Hey, I was professional.
But as we talk about, the evolution and the newness and the introduction of women into our organization, it's not that we decided, we need to be more inclusive. It's like, no, these women have been a part of this pretty much since like the kind of day one, right? In a lot of ways, and I love that this is an organic decision, and it's not this like, like we need to evolve with the times, and that's what I love, man. And again, it's this ability to be self-aware, of ourselves individually first, and then as of ourselves as an organization. And
I hate to interrupt you, but it's not just self-aware. I truly think it's actually just opening our eyes to what's right in front of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have to shout out Coco and Addie as well, because I just shout out Bailey. But we have to do justice to, like, for anyone that doesn't know Coco, like, she is a beast. She is a motherfucking beast. Like, for all the times that we reference China and how Kinjaz is so international in the studios that we have in China, in arena dance competition, like, that would not be possible without Coco. Like, without a titan overseas like that. Like, that's something that is easy to get breezed over because dance, most people, and it's okay, but you just see dance, like that's what most of our fans know us for, right? So in terms of like organizational, executional, like abilities like that oftentimes gets outshined by just dance content and creative content. But when you talk about like leading a company, inspiring like a cultural movement in China, like, that is fucking incredible, man. I'm super inspired by that. So every time I talk to Coco, and I love Coco because she's also like the perfect yin yang of like, she's so like fucking funny. She makes us laugh. She's so chill, but like, you know what I mean? In the shadows, she's a motherfucking boss. And that's, I think,
what he means by she's funny is when we asked her if she wanted to be a Kinja, not only was she thrilled, she's like, I always thought I had a dick and you guys had a vagina.
Damn. Damn.
But like somehow it was like really touching. Like it was way more touching.
That's her way.
That's her way.
That's the Coco charm.
That's the
real poetry.
Yeah. And like straight up, she's a boss, and our history with her and how she evolved it in that day, like it was only way overdue, to be honest with Coco. Addie, I mean, I'm biased, but if y'all believe me in clearing my bias.
Wait, why are you biased?
Yeah, no. Come on, man. Come on, man.
But do you guys know?
Dude, why is it Addy Chan? Why is it not Addy's song? No, I'm just kidding.
But straight up, like, for anyone that doesn't know, like Addy, who's also like, she's deep in Kinjaz's work every single day in the shadows. Again, our company and our organization is so extensive. It's not about just the dance. Like, we build all this stuff because we have a team that goes way beyond the dance. And so, you know, all I'm going to say with Addy is that, like, she was there day one in the genesis of conversations, like before Kinjaz even happened. Like, she's been in the shadows, like supporting, giving ideas. And I feel like, regardless of what she's done now and her extensive journey and career, I think it's just straight up, like, we just have to respect, whether it's Addy or Coco or Bailey or any of the new female Kinjaz that we have
Jason.
in queue. Jason's a whole nother story.
The
man.
female Kinjaz is my favorite female Kinjaz.
Jason's a whole nother story.
Dude.
What's up, baby? What?
All the toasts are kicking in right now.
Come on, man.
We're there. We're there,
man. His beautiful ass long hair.
Hey, we got some
back to he's saying some lovely stuff.
You are saying some lovely stuff, Mike.
Sorry
Sorry to interrupt.
Some female Kinjaz in queue as well. Shout out to our female Kinjaz in queue. If you already know what's up with Kinjaz, you already know who they are.
The world
But
would love to know.
Straight up, I just want to say, like, we got some. We the definition of a titan in Kinjaz goes far beyond dance. It's just life, straight up. It's life experience and the courage to embrace just fucking pushing forward.
Love it. Love it.
Come on, man.
Man.
There
There we go.
See?
Cheers to y'all. Cheers to Kinjaz.
It's either gonna be a great or an okay idea to have whiskey like constantly available.
It's great. It's great. For this one, it's great.
Hey, I'm gonna just throw it out there too, just because we mentioned Jason Lin. I feel like Jason Lin, we like to like fuck around and say a bunch of shit about Jason Lin.
I've
like
only
joking
spoken facts today. About him.
Yeah, but like, sometimes everyone doesn't have the context. Jason Lin is a beast. He's a fucking beast. But I also have to couple that and just be like, hey, you're not a beast. You got like fucking long way to go, motherfucker.
Yeah, you piece of
Awesome, but you're not that awesome.
But Jason Lin is. I'll keep this short. All I'm gonna say is that Jason Lin moves in the shadows deep. He moves in the shadows deep. He's beyond his years, and we've uniquely felt that he was beyond his years since he was a kid. Since he was a fucking kid performing with Poriotics on ABDC. To being John Ha's little bro on GRV, Anthony directing him on a junior team back in the day, to him being a high school kid, just like showing up to dojo nonstop, to keeping in contact while he's at UC Berkeley with his triple ass major. Yes, triple major. This motherfucker is weird. And but after that, coming through and just being like, I said right before I left for college, I said I'm going to come back and I'm going to be full force for Kinjaz. And that's exactly what he did.
Almost. And then he was just like, let me do Diamond Bar on the side. And then I was like, all right, we're going to let you do this for as long as you think you need to do this. But let's be real, bro. Come on, DB. Come on. You lucky for now.
They call him Master Lin. He has a hoodie that says
it's like Master Lin or something
Master
like that.
Lin.
Typo or something. I don't know.
But shout out Jason Lin.
Shout
out Jason
Favorite
Lin.
female Kinjaz.
New Kinjaz, baby.
But so with all that said, I mean, there's so much more. We could talk forever about the evolution and the future. But you know what? Like, for the sake of catching everybody up, over the past year, we talked about Kinjaz Bang Noodles, and we launched on Amazon. We had a very successful run on Amazon, and we got into Costco. That was kind of this goal that we, Alex had kind of like dropped that bomb at the complex grand opening. Like, oh shoot, okay, Costco, yeah, let's shoot for that. And then here we are. We're in Costco. We're in 7-Elevens in Hawaii.
Let's pause for a moment. For anyone that doesn't know, we're taking it back to Kinjaz Bang Noodles right now, because Kinjaz Bang Noodles, to be frank, has fucking dominated our mindset a lot.
Kinjaz Bang Noodles is life.
Yeah.
If anybody watches Ted Lasso, that's it.
I don't watch.
I watched like 2 episodes of Ted Lasso, and I was like, it's cool, but like it's not
Okay,
my
first
thing,
of all, it's
man.
amazing, and that's okay.
I know, and I know a lot of people think it's amazing.
I'm just saying, there's a Hispanic
yeah.
player. His name is Daniel Rosa. I think he's I don't know. I'm not sure if it's Mexico or anyways, but he always goes, "Football is life," and it's like really, really happy about it, and it just makes me happy to watch. So, hey.
Kinjaz noodles is life. Yeah.
See?
I understand.
It felt good now, didn't it?
I understand. I understand. Good. You know what felt good? Like it was like I saw it from a mile away. I was like, I'm waiting for it.
See, dude. Come on now.
Hey, cheers.
That's how you know they're bros, man. That's how you know they're bros.
You saw it coming
but
too. You just
I did.
it.
I was just waiting for y'all to do it.
Come on now.
Hey,
see,
but
so you know we're bros.
As Ben just mentioned, like we're actually, you guys might be hearing it first right now. I don't know when we're actually going to release this podcast, but if the timing is right, we just got confirmed to be in every single 7-Eleven in Hawaii. I'm going to say this kind of calm, but my soul wants to just jump out of a window right now with excitement. I'm
just making shit up. I don't know if I'm offending people in Hawaii right now. I just heard that shit in Lilo and Stitch. You know what I'm talking about? Well, I'm probably offending somebody.
It's okay. It's okay. Anthony's parents were like, they met in Hawaii. They were married in Hawaii. He's got ties into Hawaii. So any Hawaiians that are getting offended, yeah, he's got mad like genuine Hawaiian ties with his like roots.
That's funny.
So like, don't hate on him for that. But yeah, don't say. Like we're in every 7-Eleven in Hawaii. We are in
That's
Costco.
crazy, bro.
We're not in every Costco. We're actually in Texas. Every Texas Costco and Midwest Costco's. And this is our test run to see if we can go nationwide. And I think regardless, the fact that we're in a Costco, the fact that we're in 7-Eleven, we're on a new roller coaster right now. This is something that I think, in this pandemic clarity, LASIK surgery, conscious LASIK surgery for Kinjaz, I think nationwide distribution, international distribution is something that was like maybe like a long-term goal for us, and to be able to hit it in less than 1 year.
That's crazy.
Less than 1 year of the debut of the noodles on Amazon.
That's what I'm saying. It's like at the time when we were like hearing about Costco, that was like the peak of the mountain. We were like, okay. And then the second you get there, you're like, oh. And then you look at the actual mountain, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So that's what it feels like. But it's an amazing thing to just even feel like you're at the bottom of the next level. You know what I'm saying?
And I know Alex is really excited about this Costco event. Is this like his first product?
His first product.
Wow.
First product in
Costco as well.
too.
That's incredible.
All of his
That's
food
incredible.
companies.
Wow.
More than 10 or some shit like that, for real.
Yeah. It's a milestone for everybody.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a big
That's
deal.
crazy. Yeah, so I mean, I think we could. I mean, the thing is, we're not nationwide yet, right?
Working on it.
Working on
So we
it.
could use everybody's help. That's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, and that, you know what? Like, I actually want to take it back to that. Like, I don't want for us to come off, and if we are, please forgive us. I mean, we're excited. We're celebrating life, and we're talking about our losses. We're like really kind of like talking out this past year, and
This is a therapy session.
it is. This is us venting right now. We don't want to come off as like, yeah, we made it, man. We're freaking like, yo, we're still trying to figure it out, and we're learning, and we've only figured out with the help of everybody that supported us. So I mean, guys, if you're out there in Texas, like, hey, shout out to everybody who's picked up a box or 10. Keep doing that, and we're this is us, and this is a podcast that I feel like we want to help people kind of feel like, yo, it's tangible, and you got to work hard for it, and this is like us talking about our processes and learning, but we're still figuring it out. So thank you. We just want to say thank you first and foremost, but we're not quite there. We're still trying to move.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, like, for anyone out there who's tagged us in Kinjaz Noodles Costco, like, that shit means a lot,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Like every single one of y'all who's tagged us, taken pictures, messaged us, the friends, homies, family that's messaged us about Costco, like, we really appreciate that, man. And I think, the depth of that, and something that maybe we don't always get to explain, is that, Kinjaz Noodles isn't just this pivot or this new venture that like for Kinjaz to kill it or something. It's more so the way that I think about it now is that is also this symbiotic relationship where, you know, Kinjaz Noodles feeds the dance and our creative projects, right? That's, if it's not crystal clear to y'all, that's what it does. But the importance of that is because through our creative and our dance, we get to feed Kinjaz Noodles through some, you know, call it what you want, creative marketing, unique marketing, weird ass marketing, right? With some ninja ass noodles. But that symbiotic relationship, it's just something that, you know, when you see us and, you know, for the past couple of years, we're dancing and we're doing some, you know, some commercial project and we're holding some product in our hand while we're dancing, or there's another logo. Like the lessons of life have just I think pointed us towards a direction where we're like, yo, if we can create something for ourselves and we get to create this product and that can feed our creativity and we get to do projects without thinking about, yo, we need to put this in our hands, some, you know, random product from somebody else. Like, I think that's the place we're at in our journey right now. We're like, yo, we're finding this weird balance between the noodles and our creative projects and our creative journey. And I think that's when you buy a box of noodles, like that's what it's feeding. You're not just feeding the livelihood of everyone who's a part of Kinjaz, but you're also like feeding the creativity and the projects and what you receive from Kinjaz. It you know, it takes a lot to produce these projects, right? And it doesn't come from scratch. It comes from things like the noodles to be able to provide videos, content, whatever it is for y'all. So I think it's important for, you know, anyone who supports us and fucks with us to understand that it's a symbiotic relationship between the noodles and Kinjaz.
It's kind of like they're feeding the revolution.
Bang.
Oh my God, I love that, because by revolution is a dual meaning. The revolution is the circular in the meaning, like the directional revolution.
Oh yeah,
and
we knew that. That's why we named it.
I knew there was a reason why we had that hashtag,
bro. Come on, man.
It's all making sense.
Explaining it to, you know, the billions of viewers out there.
And that, I mean, man, we're going long. This is all a long episode, but like, you know, the most recent news that we've also kind of dropped on the world, this little thing with Nike.
Speaking of full circle, and this was not something that just popped up this year. Again, this is in the making, 4 years in the making. And this deserves a whole episode that we can go dig deep on this one. Which we will. But we can't do this first episode of season 2 without talking about at least a little, just, you know, what's been going on with Nike and what it's doing for dance, what it's doing for sports, like athletics. The whole view, like the script is being flipped right now.
I think knowing that we're gonna go into a whole other episode about this, because there's so much story, there's so much history, there's so much context, and even people that need to be like given some love and credit to.
Absolutely.
You know, we just want to pay respect to how much we respect the journey with Nike, that we'll go into in a separate episode. But if there's anything that we can add to just kind of top this off with where we're at with that, something that we've been working on for 4 years, I would say that we are just doing our part to move the needle. That's all right now. You know, we've been given this amazing, this extraordinary, and this beautiful life filled with dance, that one of the best ways that, you know, we've, as an organization, as a group of people, have dedicated ourselves to contributing back is to help push the needle. And that's something that we believe in. That's something that we know this culture needs, regardless of how people perceive things. We've always been a group and an organization to go out there and just try to fish for a bigger fish than anybody's ever had before, for the sake of proving to everybody that there are bigger fish in the sea. So let's just move the needle, and we'll get into the details in another time.
But I do have to say, because, you know, I don't want to trust that everybody like follows us and, you know, the algorithm be shady, yo.
Oh yeah,
it's not like everybody knows what's up. So, you know, even though we'll have another episode about Nike, I'm sure, another discussion on it. For anyone who might not know, we've spent the past 4 years our conversation started in December of 2017 with Nike. And over the past couple of years, we've been consulting on the design for Nike's first performance sneaker that is built for dancers. And it's been a long journey. We honestly didn't even know if we'd ever get to talk about it. Straight up, it's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of conversation, a lot of participation, and time spent from a lot of the guys in the crew, a lot of guys and gals at that, to even close the deal. And so now, we're at this point where Nike's given us the green light to that it's actually happening. And so, for anybody who's curious and who has been seeing our announcements, I just want to say that. Because everybody asks us, so I'm gonna just say it again. The shoe is not out until early next year, early 2022, and it is available to select members on the app. But it's there's a lot of different things they're trying, because this is an experiment. This is a new thing for Nike, and the most important thing about when Ant mentions like just pushing the needle is, I think, the conversation of dance as sport and dancers being athletes is something that Nike is taking serious time on. And I do have to give respect to the fact that for Nike to spend 4 years before like making this public knowledge, and to reach out to us, to meet us, and to vet us out, and through conversation, you know what I mean? I do want to point out it's not this arcane thought of like, we are the face of dance. It's a lot deeper than that. It's about like, how can we facilitate, what dancers' needs are? How can we execute that? How can we provide this information? How can we provide reliable data? How can we organize all that? How can we give a diverse perspective on this and have a conversation and articulate this at different corporate levels, different creative levels, and that entire process, to be able to do that with Nike. And honestly, I'm gonna give props to Nike for vetting us out and realizing like that we were capable of doing all these unique things, so much more than just being a quote unquote athlete of dance. I think that's just the tip of the iceberg, man.
Yeah, and as you said, Mike, there's so many details and moving parts within this conversation, which we will get to in the future episode. But we just want to celebrate that this is huge. This is not huge for Kinjaz. This is huge for dance. Like, and as I hear you talk about it, like I keep thinking about like the different, shoes there are for respective sports. There's a tennis shoe, there's a basketball shoe, there's a running shoe, like there's a golf shoe. Once upon a time, those shoes didn't exist. So it's like we have now begun the conversation of, hey, remember when there was the first dance shoe? Yeah. And like, this is big for our culture. This is big for our community. And we didn't single-handedly do this. There were so many people that were involved. So, again, we'll get into all the details of that, but we just want to celebrate this big moment for dance in our community. And we're honored and humbled to be here at the beginnings of that and that conversation. And there's so much more we can get into. And, again, this is our kind of first episode back. And we wanted to, just update our listeners with what's just been going on. And with that being said, in classic Kinjaz podcast, Movement in the Shadows, we like to end it with a fun little lightning round with all of our guests. But because this, we're just having fun here, we're gonna lightning round each other. So we're gonna do that sounds weird, but we're gonna do a 3-way lightning round. That sounds even weirder. But like, let's do it. We're gonna just shoot some questions. We're gonna have a threesome lightning round. It progressively gets weirder as I say. We're gonna shoot some questions. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it. And we're going to figure it out. We kind of talked about how we're going to do this before, but I still don't know if we know what we're doing. But let's just do it. I mean, either way. All right, here we go. Lightning round. And so the funny thing is we all were like, do we troll each other or do we give each other like really good questions? So I'm just going to start it off and we'll see where it goes. First question, me to Mike. Who do you want to be the next Kinja?
Oh, damn.
It's like deep off the bat.
Yeah, that was.
This kind of kills lightning, right? But we're just gonna ask the questions that we want to know.
Who do I want to be the next Kinja? Damn. That's tough. That's really tough. I don't have a singular person in mind.
I bet you it's not a dancer.
Ooh, that's even better.
It's not a dancer. Actually.
Even better.
It's not a dancer. Then you know what's crazy? The first person that came to mind. I gotta give so much. Okay, I'll try to give one sentence context to this because everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" They're not gonna get it at all. But the genuine answer that's at the top of my mind is Michael Sam.
Oh, okay.
And for anyone who doesn't know who Michael Sam is, Michael Sam, let me just say, shout out Michael Sam. You probably not even listen to this.
Hella moving in the shadows.
He's super moving in the shadows. Like to Alex Kochaviwat, like our Kinja brother, Kinja Bang Noodle brother. Like Michael Sam has been in the shadows every step of the way. And that's just the first person that came to mind because I'm like, yo, I guess legit. For me, it's not just, there are so many people that are already in our camp. You know what I mean? That like I think about that that come to mind first beyond anyone outside of our camp. And that's just for me. Straight up.
Everyone's gonna look him up now.
Yeah.
So Michael then Sam. I guess it popcorns to you.
Yeah. Popcorns to me.
Yeah, you got.
Oh, so you don't ask that question to Anthony?
Oh,
is that the way that works? I don't know. I don't know how this works.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Hey, it's your guys' podcast.
I don't know. We're figuring it out, dude. We don't know what we're doing anymore.
All right, fine. My next Kinja is not necessarily next, but I've never said this out publicly. Me and Jackson Wang specifically have a deal that when he reaches 30 million followers on Instagram, I have to let him be a Kinja.
Everybody go follow Jackson Wang on Instagram.
We made this deal when he had 10 million followers and he's like over 25 right now. So it's like, it was like almost a joke, but like, yo, I feel like somebody's going to have to collect on this deal.
Hey, that's what the fuck is up. Hashtag followers mean nothing though. But at the same time, that's what the fuck is up.
Digital currency.
All right. Popcorn Mike then.
Yeah, then it's on you.
Right there. No, that's good. That's good. Okay. Hey, Jackson Wayne would be a dope ass kid.
Fine. We should just do each person has one question that both people have to answer.
Okay. That was
make it quick and efficient.
Okay. That's good. Okay. Then for both of y'all, if it's not particular, then I would say I won't make it weird. So it's just honest. Off the top of your head, like what episode of the podcast last season first comes to mind when you're like, damn, that was a really fucking dope podcast. Yeah. I'm gonna make
a totally different relationship with podcasts.
Oh, for sure. That's why I'm gonna make Anthony answer first.
I listen to like 12%. And that's still like
that's why I want you to answer first. Out of the 12% of episodes that you listen to, like what comes to mind first as like the most impactful podcast episode for you? And again, it doesn't have to be the most. What comes to mind first? So it's not like heavy pressure.
Yeah, I think the irony, you just mentioned this dude, but maybe the first person that came to mind was also Alex.
Okay.
I think Alex Kochaviwat specifically is because I think he's such an impactful person. Definitely to me personally, I know for us and I know for Kinjaz in general, but I also know he's one of those dudes that is more in the shadows. So like for him to even without us there, be in a space to like have a conversation to a lot of like followers, fans, and viewers, you know what I mean? And just to even give voice and personality, it's like I feel like people, if they paid attention, if they have interest, should be blessed to listen to somebody who gives a lot of us advice and knowledge and direction and stuff like that. And I know we're all brothers and stuff like that and shared life together, but I personally have few mentors and he's one of them. So I thought that was really, really cool for us to be able to share something that I find value in to other people.
Nice.
Boom.
Benjamin.
Yeah, it's that one's so hard because I got something from every
Yeah,
episode,
for
and I
sure.
was present
Yeah,
in
yeah,
every
yeah.
episode.
No, I
and
understand.
I have so much. I'm like, oh my gosh.
First that comes to mind. That's
okay.
why.
So with
Wasting our
that,
time, dude. Just answer it.
with that, first that came to mind for whatever reason, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know why this came to
Yeah.
mind. It was the episode with Ellen Kim.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why, and it's not that, okay, context.
It's because she's hot, bro.
She's also married, but, you know.
Because he's hot, too.
Yeah, both of them are hot, yeah. Anyway, so.
Make it 1 degree weirder. One more thing. One more
go,
thing.
Bring it.
One more thing?
Yeah, one more thing. Make it weirder.
Okay, like, what was the most fine you've ever seen her? Like, what was she wearing?
Damn it. I'm not gonna answer
Is that
that.
good?
Because now
All right, don't answer.
That was good.
I almost
Okay.
need to
Why
change
did you?
my
Why?
answer.
Yeah. Back to the road.
That's
That's
go
good.
to regular stuff.
Ellen, love you. But reason being, and it's not that okay. So in that episode, we got pretty vulnerable,
Yeah,
right? We
yeah.
went pretty deep life
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Hey, man, she's married.
Man. Anyway, I'm just gonna disregard that.
Yeah.
But like, it got to the point where I was like, oh, I feel like I didn't realize we were gonna go this life deep, right?
Yeah.
And some tears were shed on the podcast.
Whoa.
And what I appreciated about that episode was it went somewhere that I didn't think it could have gone even. I'm like, we're probably going to talk about dance and career stuff and whatever. And, you know, she really just took it, you know, sure, it was dance and all that because that's a part of her life. But then she opened up a whole other sector of life. And, you know, even after we finished recording, and obviously this is not, you know, on air or it's not out there, but you know, we talked about how that was kind of, it felt like a therapy session, or it felt like it was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting to come on here and cry and blah, blah, blah. And so what that to me, but the thing is, I've also had similar experiences with kind of every podcast, but then to me, I was like, whoa, man, like that to me is dope where you think you're coming onto the Kinjaz podcast. Oh, okay, I'm going to talk about dance and here's my next career move and blah, blah, blah. But then we're talking about life and just vulnerabilities and things like that. And that's what made me really kind of see this platform as bigger than just people flexing on like, here's how I've done all my cool stuff. And it's like, yo, like I'm a human and I have my flaws. I'm figuring it out. Yeah. Sure, I may have had my successes, but I've also had many failures. But those are lessons that I've learned. And here I am still trying to grow and still being a student. And like that to me was that moment where I was like, whoa, this thing is it's bigger than what I even think it is. And made me excited to keep it going. And that was actually kind of like early mid-season too, which was cool. And that maybe that was kind of the fuel to kind of keep it going. And that's what makes me excited to bring it back with, you know, new energy, new guests, new conversations, new stories to be told. So
new co-host, don't forget me, dog.
Anthony Lee.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Anthony Lee, what's your lightning question, man?
All right, lightning question. I don't even want a why. I want a quick, clear, simple answer. I even want Chad to answer this. All right, no why, just an answer. All right. Which Kinjaz are you gonna battle at the next crusade? You know that shit runs deep.
I have a easy one actually.
Nice.
Because you know.
No why, man. No whys. No whys.
No
I know
whys.
there's hella reasons for whys. Hella disclaimers.
So you just drop the name and that's it?
Yeah, just drop
period.
the name.
But for our listeners, they have no context.
That's fucking funny
context.
as fuck, dude.
Oh shit, they have no.
They've never been to our crusades.
You get one sentence with maximum 1 comma.
Okay, one sentence, easy peasy then. I'll say Phil Garvin. We've been kicking it hella, and it would just be mad fun to just like, you know, where we're at in our lives right now. We just creatively explore that. Straight up.
You heard that shit here first, Phil. That would be fun as fuck, though. Yeah. That would be super fun. All right, Ben, where you at?
Oh man. Fudge, dude.
That's good fudge.
Ben, I want to like just invite someone from another crew.
Say it, dude. Say it. Okay. All right.
Oh no, just say it.
Okay.
No. I'm not saying because I don't want to cut you off. I'm being mad rude right now. Go ahead.
No. You're
Fine,
good.
dude.
It's
Alabon.
okay. It's okay. What?
So random.
So random.
That's right.
Man. All right. For the sake because he's the first person that came to mind, I'm gonna say Charlie.
Hey.
And the reason why for Charlie is because Charlie, I've seen him grow so much over the past probably I've seen him grow a lot over the years that I've known him, but like hella within like the past 2 years. And that inspires me. And he's even kind of told me similar things. And as a dancer, I respect like his ability to be a student and just go in and grind. And the fact that he's taken a year-ish off, or I don't know, maybe less than a year. He was doing some other stuff, but then he's back at it and he's not lost a step. I'm like, all right, bro, I see you. That's dope. So like, and I know that it would challenge me. It would challenge me, but like, Charlie. Nice.
That was like 5 commas and 16 ands.
Yeah, that's not part of the comma.
But you heard that,
Semicolons.
Charlie. You heard that. All
Semicolons.
right.
Yeah, Ben wants to smoke you.
That's
All
right.
I
Chad.
didn't say smoke you. I said I would love the honor of battling you, sharing the battlefield with
That's
you.
2021 from a smoke.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
All right, Chadua.
Just close it off, Chad.
Chadua. Nah, we got to hear Anthony's answer too.
Come to
What?
the mic.
Yeah.
That's my question.
Doesn't matter. Hey man, you guys invited me as like not a normal guest. I get like
Yeah,
special
yeah.
rights.
Mike
Y'all are
has
asking me to
special
like ask
privileges.
questions and shit too, man. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
we're putting Mike to
I
work
gotta
right
prepare
now.
questions and shit.
Hey, I should go up the mic.
Get to the mic. Pick a mic.
Tag for
Oh,
my.
Hold on. All right.
Welcome, Chad.
Hey, what's up? For my battle, I battle at Crusade. Everyone that was part of Periodics. Ayo!
Damn,
That includes
that's what's
Charles, Law, Jason, and Anthony Lee. For the why, we'll save that for another episode.
You didn't even say Jet.
Oh, and Jen! Why? Another episode.
This mother.
Wow. Chad just comes in just to freaking drop the biggest mic drop right now.
I'm not including that because you guys didn't actually include it in Periodics when I asked to be included. I did a couple performances, but I didn't actually make the
Still in
team.
it.
Drama.
Still in the sunglasses.
I didn't actually make the
Drama.
crew, so technically, you know what I'm saying? But you know what? Ain't no whys here. Ain't no commas.
whys.
Ain't no ands.
Lightning episode.
Heyo.
And on that note,
And on that note,
Hey, on that note, we get to. Hey, that was juicy as hell.
That was juicy as
that was
hell.
a lot of juice.
But we got bounce it back to Anthony.
All right, dude. Hey, straight up.
Yeah, no commas and shit.
No bullshit. No commas. Tony Tran.
oh,
That's what's up.
I do think I'll get whooped, but still.
No, that's good. That's good.
I
That's a
think
good
you know.
sentence.
I think you know.
That was a good sentence.
that was great.
That was a good sentence.
I think we all know. We all get it. We all
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
So you know, you focus on your hats, baby. You know what I'm saying?
This is good stuff. This is good stuff.
You know what I'm saying?
It's real good.
Hey, with that being said, you know, this is a super long
This is
episode.
hella long.
I feel like this is
But
a
it's okay.
teaser to the rest of the season.
Yeah.
We're
Hey,
just hyped to have the Kinjaz podcast season to return for all of our loyal fans and hopefully new fans and stuff like that. Because, like I said in the very, very beginning, I'm hyped to be here to allow even Kinjaz as an organization to continue to extend its reach and platform through different ways of expressing ourselves and being able to have a voice and being able to just share stories in the shadows and behind the scenes is, I think, just a dope way for us to connect, one, with each other, with some of our peers that we respect and are inspired by, and most importantly, of course, with anybody who's willing to share their ear and their time with us, because we love y'all. Y'all been supporting us since the beginning. We've talked about the dojo. We've talked about the noodles. Everybody's still supporting us out there still to this day. We love y'all. We couldn't do this without you guys. And you already know Kinjaz Podcast Season 2 is about to be lit. So stay tuned, stay hyped, and Ben, send us out.
Guys, so if you guys are just tuning in, maybe you're finding us for the first time, you're like, what is this show all about? And, this is the Kinjaz Podcast, but movement in the shadows is what we say. And the fact that we have one of our co-founders of Kinjaz here, and movement in the shadows is a term that we use a lot. We hashtag it, but it's not just the hashtag. It's not something that we just kind of want to say, but it's a tenet, it's a pillar that we live by. And the fact that we do have Mike's song here, I'd love to hear, Mike, your take on it. And there's there's a lot of different ways to interpret that, but like for the sake of where you're at currently in life, this is like on a personal tip. What is movement in the shadows to you?
I think it's always evolving. I don't think I'll ever have like an infinite definition for that. But for right now, I would say that movement in the shadows, the reason why you see that as a hashtag, and I think sometimes it can feel a little bit dramatic, and I see some of the homies like movement in the shadows, and they be just hashtagging that as if that's just kind of like a motto we have just for the sake of it. But I think it's about what you do, what's not always shown on social media, what's not public to your friends, and what you're not always announcing. I think it's about what you are doing in your time, what you are defining for yourself. And I think that movement in the shadows is why Kinjaz, the idea of being like a ninja, right? And moving stealth, moving in silence. I feel like that all is in line with the idea of not needing to brag about what we do, even though like there are moments where we will celebrate our successes, but I think it's truly about putting shine on what doesn't get seen, and more than what doesn't get seen, I think it's who doesn't get seen. And I think that's something that we're continuously always evolving with Kinjaz. Is it's not always about who's like at the front in the limelight, but it's every down to the last team member. And I think that's something that we always want to not just tell in our story when everything's said and done with Kinjaz, with our legacy, but I think that's just the mantra that we want to communicate to everybody that might be supporting our journey, is that the only reason why we are able to expand and follow our curiosity is through the team that we build, and it's through every last team member. It's from the front all the way to the sixth man, the 12th man, the end of the lineup. And so that to me is what movement in the shadows means at the moment.
There it is. Thanks, Mike. Mike, thanks for being here. It's only right that we kick off our second season with you, bro, just to give some, life updates. And again, to everybody out there who has been following us and listening since season 1, thank you so much. If you are tuning in for the first time, welcome. Thank you for being here. Follow us. We are on all your streaming podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, what have you. We're on there. And if you're digging any episode or anything that's being said here, just tag us, put us on social media, put us on your stories. We'll repost you. Follow us on Instagram, Kinjaz Podcast, Cast with a K. We're on Twitter, Facebook, same thing. And if you're really digging what we're doing, leave us a 5-star rating, a review. All that stuff helps us get visibility on the charts. And we just appreciate you guys listening. We have a lot more coming this season. We're very, very excited. And keep tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in this time. We'll see you guys next time.
Kinjaz bang!
Ow.
Brah, brah, pew, 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 pew.
Nice.
Another one.
Wow.
We the best music.
Wow. One more.
DJ Kinjaz. Oh, that was really cheesy.
That was good,
we should
though. I
have
like that
stopped
one.
right
I
before
like
that
that
one.
one.
We should cut that one up for sure.
No, that was good. That is.